Welcome back to another episode of Storytelling by the Numbers. I'm your host, Samantha Roberts, and today I'm with my dear friend, Cynthia. She has really become a community leader and a catalyst for so much transformation and change in her own life through the power of community and taking a new ownership of what is possible. Cyn, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me, Sam. This is an amazing experience. I don't do interviews, and so this is exciting for me.
Now, I know you well enough by now to know that you're not going to be using that phrase for much longer because I know that you're very particular about your word usage and your phrases. So how would you shift that immediately to have that be more empowering for yourself?
Oh, see, that was good. That was good. That comes from the conversation that we just had offline, right? I used to say I don't share very well, and now I say I share very well. So I am open to having opportunities and interviews to share my story. How's that?
I love it. I love it. So we've known each other for over 18 months at this point, and I've truly seen you step into this new place of personal ownership, of really having an expansionary thought for what your potential future could look like and what you could do to contribute into others. Talk to me about that journey of shifting into a person who's out in front, who's willing to be open and vulnerable with the story and the transformation.
In all honesty, the shift for me was that point when I told myself I share very well. Mm. All of my life, I have done things on my own. Mm. And there's some things that did go well and that didn't go well. But when I truly leaned into and said, I am on this journey and I really want to share it because I didn't realize how impactful it could be to share. And so the community that you know and that I love is Grow Stack Drive. And we have probably about 150 members. But we do videos on our page and we share with each other things that are happening, how we've learned, what we've learned, and maybe sometimes who it has impacted. And so it's been a real turning point for me to say, I share very well.
I've loved seeing you truly flourish and step into this place of, I think, hearing your voice, right? And I remember the first few times you started going live and started going, hi, I'm Cyn. Here's what I'm doing today. Here's what I'm endeavoring toward. And here's what's on my heart. And when you started doing that, your energetic transfer, your smile, and the way that you just light up a room started to really make an impact on the rest of us in the community. We started to see that I'm not holding myself accountable. Let me go see what Cyn's doing today. And that energy that you shared with us, that beautiful smile that you possess, was lifting people up. It was allowing us to see what accountability looked like. It was allowing us to really step into the power that can come from being vulnerable. Talk to me about how that's felt along the way, because it's been a long process.
It has, and even the word vulnerable for me, you see my face? To be vulnerable is just uncomfortable, but that, as we learned, is where we grow. So for me to be uncomfortable and vulnerable helps me every day. And it took me saying those words, I share very well. I almost get a little choked up because that's the vulnerable part of me that says, it's not only for me, it's for others. Yeah. And the group really helped me see that. The comments on our videos, not only mine, but everybody else in the group, and the contribution that other people make, having that accountability and telling everybody that they're doing a good job, or that, you know, if something went wrong, you know, pick yourself back up. Today's a new day and to do it again. I do have another saying that I use, which is every day I learn and every day I get better. I don't know everything. And I think being open is one of the best things that you can do for yourself. Not be closed off, not think you know everything, not think there's no room for improvement. Every day I learn and every day I get better.
I really like that. It's powerful because it's that introspection, but also it's something that I've been talking about a lot lately. It's kind of relinquishing control, right? Sometimes our transformation comes through the eyes of somebody else, right? Sometimes our transformation comes through being the catalyst for somebody else to transform. Sometimes our own transformation comes from being the person who's teaching rather than the person who's being taught. And it does go back and forth. There's this ebb and flow. There's this transference of your journey into somebody else and receiving it back again. Right. And I know along the way, as you see one person in the community level up, you see yourself level up to match. And it's this back and forth where the transformation from all of us in the last year and a half has been exponential, right? We are all doing things we could have never fathomed before. We're stepping into new sense of self, and new sense of potential and opportunity. And we're seeing things that have always been at the undercurrent of our being, but maybe we weren't tapping into. And now we're in such a safe space and safe community where we're like, well, let me just try it on. Let me just see how it feels to step into this place where I'm doing something just a little uncomfortable every day.
Yep. So that's funny because potential is a big word. Potential, I think, is so underrated. People think that this is my life and this is what I'm going to do and this is what I'm always going to do. And that's just the way it is. Well, let me tell you, it does not have to be that way. Exposure is huge, and community for me has been a game changer. Exposure to new ideas, to new thoughts, to new people, to new goals, to new heights. Exposure is huge. We were supposed to go, Ken and Jeremy and a couple other people, we were all supposed to go to boot camp in Miami. And that was last year. And we had time blocked out and everything was, we were all a go. And then COVID hit and they changed it. So we couldn't go. So Ken found something from Coach Michael Burt. It was called Flip the Switch. And I had never heard of him before. I read the bio and everything that would happen at Flip the Switch. And I was scared. I was like, what is going to happen? He offered this. He said, well, let's do this instead because it's available. And it's a small group setting. It was like 50 people. And it truly flipped my switch. I was already in a place of growth and I knew that I was meant for more, but I just didn't have the vision to get there. So surrounding yourself with people who think bigger than you, who have done more than you, gives you that little bit of an extra push. That exposure gets you to think differently. And that's something that I've learned along the way that I think is absolutely invaluable. You can have Zoom meetings. You can have other people, lift you up with comments in the community of either GSD or 10X or whatever community that you're in. But actually to be in the room with people like that, the energy goes from here to here. And you just get this new sense of, I can do more. There's more that I can do. And I think that people just don't realize it. They don't get it. They don't venture out. They don't seek new things. And so that was a huge turning point for me. It literally flipped my switch.
And what I've really enjoyed seeing since that opportunity for you to all get together with Coach is that each one of you has truly endeavored in brand new opportunities, things that are not just in parallel to something you are already doing, but in a perpendicular trajectory that is still in alignment, right? An extreme stretch of what you might have thought was possible 2 years ago, but an absolute alignment with your potential and opportunity. So I really loved seeing how each one of you who attended that event and stayed together, tight knit afterwards, each of you were able to amplify, right? I want to sit in that word amplify what was on the horizon, right? To be able to see, touch, feel, hear new opportunity for each of you to expand. And through the last, maybe 6 months, talk about how you've stepped even further into discomfort of trying new things?
Well, let me take just a half a step back, because I think that it really all starts with beliefs.
Mm.
So if you don't have the exposure to find something new, you'll constantly live in the belief that you had. So Ken and GSD always talk about limiting beliefs. So the limiting beliefs are fear, scarcity, insecurity. There's a few more, but those are the ones that we deal with most often. And so fear is huge. I was uncomfortable. I didn't know if I wanted to go to this event to truly flip my switch, because I was scared. I was scared of what that meant for me. Right.
Right.
So then fast forward through the event, learning that what I had inside was a new treasure that I didn't know anything about, because nobody showed me. Nobody had spoke into me the encouragement that I could have had. Ken and I we're really good friends, but when we started, he was my business coach, and he was the one who told me I was a leader. Changing your mindset like that and your beliefs can, dramatically change the trajectory, as you said, the trajectory of your path. And getting in the room with those people, having Ken and other people in GSD speak into my life, then working through the flip. And now I'm on the side where I'm writing a book. But I would have never, 2 years ago, I would have never thought that. And then in the middle of writing my book, here comes an opportunity to tell my story with other entrepreneurs and wonderful, beautiful people who have gone through this whole journey of getting to where they are.
Yeah.
And so it's really been an uncomfortable and eye-opening experience for me. And to share it is really, truly my gift.
Yeah. Where do you feel your next leg of your legacy could pivot for you? Do you see yourself really stepping out in the front and being interviewed quite often? Do you feel that there's this potential for you to really share your story on a daily basis rather than sporadically?
So here's part of what I've learned. In my head, I didn't truly see it. But because of the steps that I'm taking and the people I'm surrounding myself with, they see it for me. You said it in the beginning of this interview. How can you change your thought, right? Because you see it, other people see it, but it's uncomfortable for me to see it because I've never been there before. So to have the help and support of other people who see it for you gives me that new vision. What could it mean? It could mean a lot. It could mean multiple books. It could mean speaking on stages, which is the most uncomfortable thing for me that I could think of. I don't know.
I want to have you pause there for a minute, because I absolutely, again, it goes back to other people seeing it for you. I see you captivating audiences from stage. I see you possessing this accessibility that allows people to unlock and transform themselves. I see you being that leader, that speaker from stage who says, here's how I did it. And here's how, coming from very standard living trajectory, I was able to put myself in the right room and put myself in the right communities and opportunities to change the thought and to change my own trajectory. I see you being that catalyst, which is, one of my words that I live through, for other people to feel themselves unlock. So I'd like for you to just sit in that knowingness from me for a second and see the potential and the opportunity, because I want you to anchor that in, because I do see that for you. I see this very tangible, accessible energy that you can pour into so many people from around the world. No matter who meets you, they see your smile, they see the way that you express yourself, they see the way that you have such a genuine way of expressing who you are, that you absolutely can be, will be, are going to be a catalytic conversion for thousands, if not millions of people around the world. I see that for you.
See, just those words, that if not thousands, millions of people around the world. It's hard to digest, I think, because it's so new.
It's new.
But it's my journey. It's part of my story. I mean, you don't just get it overnight. It's not just something, flip a switch is one thing, but the flip the switch is to ignite what's next, because it doesn't truly happen overnight.
Yeah.
Every day I learn and every day I get better. But the point is, well, not the point, but the learning in the journey is to be open to doing it. I think that so many people are closed off and they don't have, trying to think of the right word. They don't have the confidence, maybe. They don't have the confidence in themselves to believe that they can do the hard things. Just because it's not easy doesn't mean you weren't meant to do it. I think people just give up because they don't have that mental toughness that says, yes, I can. And if anything, that is what I want people to realize. Just because it's hard doesn't mean you can't do it. You just have to learn the tools in order to get through those hard spots.
Yeah. That's absolutely one of the great takeaways that you and I have both had over the last year and a half, 2 years, is really, you don't have to have all the answers. You touched on it a few times already today. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to be the person who is the answer in your given situation. Sometimes you outsource the thing that you cannot possess for yourself in a given moment. I think that's one of the biggest awarenesses I've stepped into, is along my journey, I don't have to know the how for everything. I need to know the who. That's the biggest thing that I'm stepping into and living through right now. I have completely, as everybody knows who watches this channel knows, that I've completely disrupted my life. I stepped away from complete security to go off and to find my voice and to serve. And I think one of the greatest lessons I'm learning along the way is, when I try to go back to controlling the mission, I lose control of it. When I relinquish control and I trust in the who, and I trust in the catalytic conversion of others, that is when things are in flow. That is when I'm in alignment. That is when the whole world seems to be synergized. And so I'd love, just as we kind of wrap up today, I'd love for you to just give a few pointers and advice of what it can mean for somebody to step into a community and allow others to be their assurance they're on the right path.
Well, it's huge. I mean, having that community support behind you to lift you when you don't know. You don't know the answers.
Yeah.
I also say I'm right where I'm supposed to be, because the journey is long and I don't know what tomorrow holds. I know that I'm right where I'm supposed to be, whether it's to cross your path, or it was for Ken to cross my path, or other people in the GSD community, like my friend Doug Volsky, Grant Cardone, and Brandon Dawson. All of these big people that cross your path, not necessarily big people, but people who show you something that are big in your life to cross your path. Those are the times when you lean into those communities, because you might not have all the answers. And again, like you said, some people see things in you that you don't see. When you're in the picture, you can't see the picture from inside the frame.
I love that. I love that. That is one of your powerful phrases, that you continually pour into others. And I think it creates that opportunity for us to be safely introspective, right? To be able to be aware that there's not always the accessibility to see everything that's happening in your transformation. And I think to sit in that knowingness that you could not have predicted you would be exactly where you are today.
Yeah.
Right. And that's where the fun really begins, when you start to be looking at the past journey, right? To understand that if you had been in complete control and been prescriptive about every step that you would have taken every single day of the last 18 months, you wouldn't be sitting where you are today, because part of it came from you relinquishing control, trusting others, and leaning into proximity to others who see bigger vision for you. So I love where we've taken so much of this conversation today. I loved seeing you kind of, be expressive about the vulnerability and the transformation that you've been under. And I'd love for you to just highlight where everybody can tap into further and where they can pick up your latest book and what's on the horizon.
Oh my gosh, that's great. So my name is Cynthia Kahi, and I'm at Cynthia Kahi on Instagram, on Facebook. I have a restaurant, Home Run Pizza. I am the co-author of the Ignite the Entrepreneur book. So there are 35 of us in that book. You can read my story. The book is available on Amazon, and soon I will have my book.
I love that. It's really, really powerful to see everything that you have on the horizon. And again, the lives that you will continue to impact along the way. I hope everyone listening now and in the future can see exactly why I brought Sin to your attention. I wanted you to see this beautiful soul and to allow her to unlock a little something in you about how fast transformation can come and how quickly. When you relinquish control, when you step into that place of service, you truly can unlock at exponential rates. And I hope that you pull a little nugget away from her with everything that she brings to the table and the transparency in her journey. I hope that each of you will reach into her if something here today touched your soul. And until next time, this was another episode of Storytelling by the Numbers, and I'm your host, Samantha Roberts. Until next time, guys, thanks.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you.